Darkness fell over the Prista system as the Grixari dreadnoughts emerged from slipspace. They drifted into orbit around Valeria Prime like colossal steel leviathans, their hulls gleaming with 1,000 lethal facets. In the grand war room aboard, the United Earth Defense Coalition flagship Odysseus, Captain Elena Morales stared at the hollow-projected fleet and felt a chill she could not shake. "Sir," Lieutenant Anders murmured, pointing at the display. "They're aligning their wave projectors. That means they're preparing a fear induction barrage." Admiral Chun's voice was flat, controlled. "We have no defenses against psionic terror weapons of that magnitude. Stand down, Captain. Observe only no engagement." Morale swallowed hard. She remembered the hollow feeds from Elysia Prime, where entire cities had collapsed within minutes under the Grixaries' mind-shatter tactics. Mothers had screamed for their children. Senescent philosophers had begged for oblivion. Then, silence. Complete silence. Every last soul, either broken or dead. On the surface of Valeria Prime, the human Grixari peace delegation assembled in the obsidian hull of the alien envoy. Great pillars of living metal pulsed with alien bioluminescence, casting the chamber in an otherworldly glow. The Grixari emissary, tall and jointed like a hydraulic skeleton, welcomed them with a tilt of its segmented head. "Citizens of Earth," it rasped, voice amplified through a resonator that hummed. "Lo, you are privileged to witness the majesty of the Grixari psychic assault. We demonstrate, and you learn compliance." Morales, chosen as the lead liaison for her fluency in telemetric encryption, stepped forward. Her pulse raced. "We appreciate your demonstration." But before she could finish, the chamber's walls flickered. Embedded amplifiers flared to life. Deep beneath her skin, a slow crawl of dread began. In the distance, she heard the guttural howls of her own mind. Acid rain consuming her lungs. Walls bending in grotesque distortion. The faces of her friends twisting into mocking specters. Her knees buckled. She gripped the edge of the alabaster dais, teeth clenched against the urge to scream. Around her, the Grixari watched, unblinking. Their godlike composure was broken only by curiosity, as though they were cataloging each human reaction for some grand experiment. Minutes passed like centuries. Then, as abruptly as it began, the frequencies halted. Morale boosters injected through her suit delivered a calming agent. The world righted itself. The screams died in her throat. The Grixari emissary inclined its head again. "Observe the futility of defiance." Morales forced herself upright, voice steady despite the tremor in her fingers. "Your power is undeniable. But fear can also be weaponized." The chamber went quiet. For the first time, Morales thought she saw a flicker of something in the emissary's multifaceted eyes: bewilderment, perhaps amusement. Back aboard the Odysseus, Morales debriefed with the Admiral and the scientific staff. The holotable displayed neural activity charts from her suit's biometric logs. Cortisol spikes off the scale. Brainwave oscillations decoupled from any known human pattern. Dr. Sato, the Coalition's lead neurologist, frowned. "Their amplifiers don't just broadcast fear. They rewrite neural pathways. It's revolutionary, but it's also catastrophic for any race that can be mentally dominated." Admiral Chun exhaled. "Are we to remain spectators while they conquer the Orion cluster?" Morales met his gaze. "Sir, we can't fight force with force. But perhaps we can fight terror with terror. I volunteered for a classified project last month. You approved it under the condition of total secrecy." Chun's eyes narrowed. "You mean the Psi Reversal Initiative? If that fails, it could also succeed," she interrupted. "We've recovered a MK2 amplifier from the wreckage of the Valkyr cruiser. Our scientists believe they can invert its process, turn the fear pulse back on the Grixari." Silence fell. The Admiral tapped his fingers against the hollow table.
"Finally," he sighed. "Captain, assemble your finest."
"We begin preparations at once. Humanity may yet stand." Outside the viewport, the Grixari flotilla held its silent vigil. Their courses etched in perfect geometry, they waited. And as the Odysseus slipped from orbit, hiding its true purpose behind a cloak of research vessels, a new resolve kindled in every human heart aboard, to turn the Iron Shadow into a mirror of its own dread. Thus began the quiet before humanity's bold counterstrike, a whisper of steel and will that would soon echo across the stars. Asterisk. The hidden laboratory on New Alexandria Station thrummed with covert energy. Beneath layers of EM shielding and false maintenance channels, the United Earth Defense Coalition's finest minds worked in fevered secrecy. Dr. Amina Reyes stood before a ring of calibrated sensors and shimmering psionic coils, her eyes alight with both exhaustion and conviction. "Initiate test sequence Alpha," she ordered, voice steady despite the tension in the air. A technician tapped controls, and the coils glowed a sickly green. Across the room, Volunteer Lieutenant Marcus Shaw sat strapped into the inverted psionic receptor, the very device that had once tormented Morales and countless others. Instruments began to hum, measuring neural pulses as the device reversed its polarity. Shaw's visor lit up with data streams. His heartbeat raced, then steadied under the dampening algorithms. What had been instruments of fear now emitted a gentle resonance, coaxing adrenaline into controlled bursts rather than crushing dread. Around him, monitors tracked his brain's activity. Amygdala responses tempered to a manageable level, synaptic. Storms rerouted into coherent patterns. "Remarkable," murmured Dr. Reyes. "We're not just blocking fear, we're harnessing it, refining it into a defensive reflex." The assembled scientists exchanged hopeful glances. If this worked on a larger scale, the Grixari's own terror beams could be turned inward. Thousands of kilometers away, on the fortress world of Chelder, Captain Elena Morales led a stealth team through the moonless wasteland. Their mission: liberate the neural cores, stolen from Earth's colonial psi archive, and plant Trojan implants in the Grixari command network. The sky above was choked with hollow drones and sensor arrays, but the human squad moved like whispers. Against the rocks, Corporal Jade Novak signaled a halt and attached a micro-scrambler to a patrol tower sensor node. "We're dark for 7 minutes," she whispered. "Move." Under cover of electronic silence, they infiltrated the Volta, catacomb of living circuitry, pulsating like a slumbering leviathan. Walls of organic metal housed rows upon rows of crystalline neural matrices, each one a brainchild of humanity's greatest psionic researchers. While Sergeant Liu disabled the security hub, Morales retrieved a data shard containing the neural signatures. "Dr. Reyes will know what to do," she said. Behind her, Specialist Ortiz slid Trojan chips into the Vault's primary relay banks. "Once these boot up, every Grixari cruiser connected to Chelder will have a backdoor," he confirmed Danan. Alarm shrieked a beam of searchlights slicing the darkness. Morales gave the signal. "Exfil in 2." Smoke grenades hissed, and the team sprinted through the winding halls as automatic turrets awakened. Pulses of energy sent shards of rock flying, but the Trojans held. The firing patterns faltered as the implants jammed their targeting arrays. Bursting onto the open plateau, Morales watched a Grixari patrol stumble sideways, disoriented by phantom fears of exploding reactors and collapsing gravity domes. They vanished into the desert, leaving behind chaos and a message encoded deep within the Empire's neural web. Humanity would not cower. Back on New Alexandria, Dr. Reyes convened with Morales via encrypted hololink. The rocky moonscape and the humming lab merged in the projection, stark juxtaposition of frontline daring and scientific ingenuity. "You did it," Reyes praised, reviewing live telemetry from the Trojan ships. Command nodes are flickering. The Empire's network is compromised. A flicker of pride crossed Morales' face. We'll need more than scattered disruptions. When do we begin full-scale inversion tests? Reyes tapped a sequence into her console. Tonight. We'll activate the MK2 amplifier in a controlled feedback loop. If the simulations hold, the Grixari horror frequency will flip so the very warriors who once wielded terror will quake before their own sea wave. Morales nodded. Then tonight, seeds of our defiance take root across their empire. As the stars wheeled overhead, two destinies converged. The warriors who had once marched in perfect, fear-driven unity, and the scientists who turned that fear against them. Beneath the surface of calculated precision and hidden sabotage, hope blossomed. Humanity's answer to the Iron Shadow would not be surrender. It would be the nightmare's reflection, unleashed with honoring resolve. The void above Vos Ix shimmered as the Grixari armada bent its vast wings of dread into position. 12 dreadnoughts formed the vanguard, each the size of a moon and bristling with psionic wave projectors. Behind them, squadrons of biomechanical fighters glowed with predatory intent. From the command deck of the UEDC flagship Aurora, Fleet Admiral Jing Wei watched through the reinforced viewport, heart pounding in time with the distant thrum of alien engines. "Status report," Wei ordered, voice calm but urgent. "Trojan. Network is live," came the reply. Tactical Officer Rio's fingers danced over holocontrols. Their internal comms are scrambled command hierarchies collapsing. "We're seeing isolated bursts of panic among Grixari squadrons. They're turning on each other." Wei allowed herself a fraction of a smile. "All wings, hold formation. Wait for my mark." Far below, the planet's surface quaked. A hidden UEDC bombardment cruiser, cloaked behind Vos Ix's magnetic anomaly, raised its signal. The Aurora responded in kind, and through slipspace conduits activated the MK2 amplifier. A pulse rippled outward, a low-frequency coil of terror tuned to the Grixari neural signature, but inverted in polarity. Instantly, the battlefield erupted into chaos. Grixari cruisers flickered as their pulse arrays backfired, projecting phantasms of their deepest fears into their own crews. Captainless frigates collided. Cruiser shields collapsed from internal psionic feedback loops. On the hull of the Orcs, Rider, a dreadnought flagship, Marines clutched their heads as visions of creeping nanite swarms devouring their flesh raced through their minds. Wei gave the order. Phalanx strike. Suddenly, every human vessel within range unleashed its concentrated fear wave pulses, an echo of the Grixari's own weapon, now perfected. The result was apocalyptic. Biofighters spiraled in spiritual torment, engines screaming as if being torn apart by invisible claws. Through the maelstrom, human interceptors darted like flocks of silver hornets. Lieutenant Commander Sato led the charge, her wing weaving a protective screen around the crippled Alliance cruisers. "Keep the pressure on," she urged in her uplink. "Don't let them regroup." Below, orbital artillery lashed Vos Ix's surface installations, cutting off Grixari reinforcements. Their ground legions, once unstoppable hordes of mind-steeled warriors, now staggered under the onslaught of panic projections. Automated defense platforms, infected by Trojan code, turned their guns inward. Within hours, what had been an unassailable Empire line lay in ruin. From the battered deck of the Aurora, Admiral Wei surveyed the wreckage. Dozens of enemy vessels drifting adrift, their psychic arrays molten and useless. She exhaled, voice quiet over the comms. "All units, cease fire and secure survivors. Humanity stands victorious today." As human Marines lowered boarding pods onto drifting flagships, they discovered Grixari warriors huddled in shattered nerve halves, eyes wide with raw terror. It was the first time the conquerors trembled before their own creation, proof that fear, when wielded wisely, could become the strongest weapon of all. The tides had turned, and at Vossitus, humanity's defiance blossomed into triumph. The aftermath of Vos Ix lay bare in the cold light of dawn. Human vessels drifted among the debris of shattered Grixari warships, where twisted hulls floated like broken gargoyles against the void. On the deck of the Aurora, Admiral Jingwei stood beside Dr. Amina Reyes, watching as boarding parties escorted trembling Grixari prisoners, once masters of psionic terror, now shells of panic and confusion. Reyes's voice was soft. They're petrified. Their own fears have broken them. Wei nodded, eyes fixed on the trembling forms being led below. We taught them terror, but we mustn't become what we destroy. In the makeshift detention facility aboard the Aurora, Grixari leaders sat in biocontainment cells isolated, not by steel, but by their own shattered psyches. Captain Morales entered with a small team of UEDC psychologists and technicians. She paused before the strongest prisoner, a massive cyborg whose once proud crest drooped in despair. Casca, Morales said quietly, using his honorific. You ruled entire star systems by weaponizing fear. How does it feel to be its victim? The cyborg's mandibles clicked in incoherent spasms. Tears of bioluminescent fluid, an expression the Grixari reserved for overwhelming emotion, traced his metal cheekplates. Morales knelt, placing a hand on the tempered glass. We can help you, she offered, but only if you confront what you've done. Meanwhile, aboard New Alexandria Station, Dr. Reyes convened a joint council. Humans and Grixari scientists gathered around a broad hollow table. On one side, human neurologists displayed rehabilitation protocols, virtual reality simulations designed to guide the prisoners through controlled fear exercises, teaching them resilience rather than submission. On the other, Grixari biophysicists contributed insights into their neural architecture, helping refine the process. We share a common mind now, Reyes addressed the assembly. We wield fear as a shield, not as a chain. Together, we'll forge a peace founded on mutual understanding. A Grixari researcher, her segmented carapace glinting in the hololight, raised a jointed limb. Our psionic heritage is vast, but untempered by empathy, it is a curse. We wish to learn restraint. Weeks passed. On Valeria Prime, once a site of terror demonstrations, the first joint academy for psionic ethics opened, its towering spires carved from black basalt, inscribed with the names of worlds destroyed by the Grixari. Here, humans taught Grixari recruits ways to channel their empathic potential, while the Grixari shared psionic meditation techniques that heighten collective focus. Captain Morales, now appointed liaison to the academy, oversaw the induction of the first Grixari cadets. She watched as they mastered exercises and shared dreamscapes, visualizing hope instead of dread. At her side, Casker stood straighter than she had ever seen him, determination replacing anguish in his multifaceted eyes dotting the silent vacuum. Beyond, the Odysseys prepared to depart for the next frontier. Admiral Chun turned to Morales and Reyes. Humanity has done the impossible, he said. We've turned the weapon of fear into a bridge between minds. Reyes smiled, handing them each a crystalline shard remnants of the original MK2 amplifier. Let this remind us of the day we taught the conquerors that terror belongs to no one. Morales placed the shard in a display case aboard the bridge. We ruled by resilience, she said softly. And in doing so, we taught them that even the darkest fear can give birth to dawn. As the Odysseus slipped into slipspace, its path, lit by distant stars, a fragile but enduring peace trailed in its wake, a testament to the power of empathy birthed from the ashes of terror.